The bell above the door chimed softly, pulling Charlie Davis from his thoughts. He looked up from the counter where he'd been sitting, staring at the dust motes dancing in the afternoon sunbeam that slanted through the front window. Outside, a light rain was falling on Brookside, Ohio, washing away the last traces of the summer heat. But inside the cozy confines of Davis Hardware, a comforting stillness hung in the air, broken only by the rhythmic ticking of the grandfather clock in the corner. It had been 2 years since Linda, his wife, had passed away, leaving a gaping hole in his life and a profound silence in their little store. Back then, the bell had been their song, its cheerful jingle announcing the arrival of customers and friends. But now it hung silently, gathering dust like the forgotten tools on the shelves. Charlie sighed, pushing himself away from the counter. At 58, his movements were stiff, his body aching with a weariness that went beyond his years. The Marine Corps had taught him discipline and resilience, but they hadn't prepared him for the quiet battles fought in the aftermath of loss. He moved to the counter, picked up a small brass bell, and held it in his calloused hands. It was a simple thing, no bigger than his thumb, yet it held a universe of memories. The bell had been a wedding gift from Linda's parents, a token of their love and a promise of a future filled with the joyful clamor of customers and community. But now it echoed only in the chambers of his heart, a constant reminder of what was and what could never be again. As if sensing his troubled thoughts, the bell gave a soft chime, startling him. He turned toward the door and saw a small figure silhouetted against the gray sky. It was just a boy, maybe 9 or 10, clutching a broken model airplane. "Mister," the boy called out, his voice echoing in the vast emptiness of the store. "Can you fix this?" He held out the plane, revealing a wing torn clean off its body. Charlie hesitated, his gaze flickering between the broken toy and the dusty tools on the workbench. He wasn't sure he knew how to fix anything anymore, but something in the boy's hopeful eyes stirred a long, dormant feeling within him, a sense of purpose, of duty. He took the plane, its balsa wood frame and tissue paper wings, feeling oddly familiar in his hands. "Yeah, kid," he said, his voice raspy with disuse. "Let's see what we can do." That day, the bell rang often. Parents arriving late from work, teenagers seeking advice on home projects, even a weathered old farmer who needed a replacement part for his antique tractor. And with each chime, a smile tugged at the corners of Charlie's lips. He found himself enjoying the challenge of finding solutions, the satisfaction of a job well done, and most of all, the company. When the last customer finally left, Charlie turned to the boy, who was patiently waiting by the door. "Your plane will be good as new by tomorrow," he promised, knowing that what he was really mending was not just a broken wing, but a fractured piece of his own soul. Noah returned the next day, his eyes shining with anticipation. As Charlie handed him the repaired plane, he watched as the boy's face lit up with pure joy. "It's perfect," he breathed, his small hands trembling as he took off the propeller. "Thank you, Mr. Davis. Just call me Charlie," he replied, realizing that this wasn't just a transaction. It was the beginning of something special. Over the next few weeks, Noah became a regular fixture at Davis Hardware. After school, he would rush in, his backpack slung over his shoulder, ready with another broken toy, a loose doorknob, or a bent garden tool, and Charlie found himself looking forward to these visits. One rainy afternoon, as they worked side by side on a wobbly chair, Charlie asked Noah about school, about friends, about anything to fill the comfortable silence that had settled between them. He learned that Noah loved science, that his favorite subject was math, and that he dreamed of becoming an engineer one day. In turn, Noah peppered Charlie with questions about the store, about its history, and about the framed picture of a smiling woman that hung beside the cash register. "Who's that, Mr. Charlie?" he asked one day, tilting his head in curiosity. Charlie's fingers tightened around the wrench. "That's my wife Linda," he said softly. "She loved this store. She loved helping people." "She sounds pretty cool," Noah replied, his voice full of admiration. "Do you think she'd fix this for me?" He held out a battered teddy bear, its fur matted and one eye hanging by a thread. Charlie nodded, a bittersweet smile touching his lips. "I know she would." He took the bear, his touch gentle as he examined the damage. "Bring it back tomorrow, and we'll get started." As the days turned into weeks, the bell above the door chimed steadily, announcing the arrival of customers and curious onlookers. People came for tools, advice, or simply to share a story about Linda, whose memory had become a source of comfort and connection in the community. Mr. Wilson, a high school science teacher, came in one day with a stack of broken classroom chairs. "Heard you were the man to see for chair repair," he said with a wry smile. "My students seem to have a knack for breaking everything." Charlie chuckled, gesturing to Noah, who beamed proudly and grabbed some tools. "Here's my assistant," he said. "He's got a real knack for this." The bell tinkled merrily that day as parents stopped by to pick up their children from Mr. Wilson's class, some bringing cookies or lemonade to share with the workers. When the last customer finally left, Charlie turned to Noah, wiping a smudge of dirt off his forehead. "You did good today, son," he said, his voice gruff with emotion. "Thanks, Charlie," Noah replied, his eyes shining with pride. That night, as Charlie locked up the store, the setting sun painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, he stood beneath the bell, its brass surface warm under his touch. He thought of Linda, of her infectious laugh, her kindness, and her unwavering belief in the goodness of people. He wasn't sure how long he stood there, lost in memory and reflection, but eventually, the quiet hum of crickets drew him back to the present. As he turned to leave, he noticed a small, intricately carved wooden box on the counter. Curiosity piqued. He opened it to find a set of keys nestled inside. Puzzled, he looked around the store, but there was nothing out of place. Had one of the customers left it behind? Or was it something else? A sign, a message left by Linda. He slipped the keys into his pocket, more intrigued than he cared to admit. The next day, as the bell chimed cheerfully, announcing the start of another busy day, Charlie found himself drawn to a small, unassuming shed behind the store. He hadn't given it much thought before, but now the keys in his pocket seemed to be calling to him. With a mix of apprehension and excitement, he unlocked the door and stepped inside. It was a jumble of tools, old furniture, and forgotten projects, but there was something else, too. A faint, sweet fragrance that smelled like freshly baked cookies and distant laughter. As he moved boxers and cleared debris, he discovered a worn photo album hidden beneath a dusty tarp. With shaking hands, he opened it, revealing faded pictures of Linda as a young girl, her eyes sparkling with mischief and life. But it wasn't just the photographs that captured his attention. Tucked between them were letters, each one a precious gem of memory, each word a testament to a love that had endured time and loss. They told of dreams, of hopes, and of a bond that transcended even death itself. As he read, a single tear traced a path down his wrinkled cheek, carrying with it the weight of years of unspoken emotions. Laughter, joy, and love mingled in that tiny shed, creating a symphony of emotions that echoed the melody of his heart. In the quiet solitude of that space, surrounded by the ghosts of laughter and the echoes of love, Charlie Davis found solace, understanding, and the strength to move forward. The bell tinkled merrily in the distance, a cheerful counterpoint to the somber scene. And as the sun set, casting long shadows across the yard, Charlie emerged from the shed, his eyes shining with newfound determination. The journey had been arduous, the path unclear, but he knew now that he was not alone. Linda might be gone, but her spirit, her love, and her memory remained, weaving a tapestry of strength, resilience, and the enduring power of the human spirit. And so, as the stars twinkled above Brookside, Ohio Davis Hardware stood bathed in the soft glow of twilight, a silent sentinel of love, loss, and the unwavering strength of the human spirit. For within its walls, Charlie Davis had found not just a store but a sanctuary, a place where grief and healing intertwined, and where the gentle ring of a bell carried the whispers of love across the realms of time.